Hello.
Oh, bugger, it's still.
Just- No?
I don't know what's happening. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It'll be
We'll,
right.
yeah,
Be
be
right.
right. Um, it's normally like in these little preferencey bits, but home, meeting. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
Oh, we have our.
Do people need to wait till 7 to join, or do people join now?
No, people can start joining now.
Okay.
Cool.
excellent.
Oh, Mitch, you've only got one hat on.
Yeah, well, I'm.
It's me. This is partly for evaluation, partly to give to the funders, of which bits and bats might go on the website. So if you don't want to have your face on camera at all, then please just turn off your camera. That's we completely understand that. So as I said, please do ask questions along the way. It's been a really interesting process, which you'll hear from the young people, and I'm sure they're really keen to answer any questions. With regards to applause, we do want it to kind of feel like a bit of a show. So you can either give the applause reaction that, depending on what device you're on, is under reactions, or you can, that's it, thank you, Joe, or you can just give an applause with your camera on. What I try and be as encouraging as possible to these lovely young people. So I am going to pass over to the host for this evening, which is Toby, and he's going to, hello Toby, he's going to introduce all of the pieces for this evening.
Yeah, thank you, Charlotte. That was interesting. Right, anyway. First up is Joe's piece, and I'll pass it on to him to introduce it because he's better at it than me.
Hi, I'm Joseph Hargreaves. I'm a musician from Yorkshire, and I made a 2-minute, roughly, audio narrative. It's sort of like one of those old radio dramas, and I've made it based on my favorite game that I've been playing during lockdown, which is Dungeons and Dragons, and it's been keeping me going really, really well. And I hope this gives you sort of like a glimpse behind the screen of what that game is like. So I hope you enjoy it.
Deep below ground, under a bustling tavern, through twisting halls in a moss-covered cavern, there lies a dungeon with treasure abound, with far more than just young adventurers around. Such demons and creatures who fester and yearn. Upon your arrival, you may just discover a once Gentile creature whom didn't recover from burning desire that call from the dark, of riches and trinkets with magical spark. This once Gentile spirit now had no one to love her. Pass by the corruption and then you will see a dock in the cavern and a rowboat for free. Steadfast make your way while opposing the current, past blazing winged beasts while not getting burnt, and at last gaze upon an underground sea. Now finally, keep good luck on your side. As you face down this creature, let fate be your guide. The tendrils of black may be fearsome to some. Leviathan screams as the battle is won, and with luck on your side, prosperity betide.
And that was my piece. I'm also going to play a quick song for you. It's called This Tall to Ride, and I wrote it for, thank you very much. I wrote it for an event last year called Food for Thought, which was exploring the use of food banks in the Northwest and why so many people have to rely on public services to get their food, essentially. 18 years of getting by, 6 months of riding a downward slope, 2 weeks of guilty pangs, 5 minutes to lend a helping hand. You're smaller than you've ever been, but there's a distinction coming from within. Is life a journey or is it a ride? Are we even small enough to make it inside? Because you have to be this tall to ride. You have to be this small to realize. You have to be this tall to cry. You have to be this tall to walk alone at night. You have to be this tall to ride. It's kind of hard to understand the reason that we're in this mess. But if you care, then take my hand and we can put it to the test. Keep the starlight in your eyes, cause in the end you'll realize that your seat at the table doesn't mean you're unable. So keep the starlight in your eyes, cause in the end you'll realize you can't learn what you need to till the moment that you need to. Because you have to be this tall to ride. You have to be this tall to realize. You have to be this tall to cry. You have to be this tall to walk alone at night. You have to be this tall to ride. You have to be this tall to ride. That's all I got. Thank you very much. Thank you, Charlotte and Joe, as well, for making us all work really hard. It's been a great project.
Wow. That's all I got to say to that is wow. It's really good. Next up, it's actually my piece. It's called I'm Not Hearing That Noise, and it's just a random music piece, I guess. It's a lo-fi rave thing that I thought up of about 2 weeks ago, maybe more, probably longer, yeah. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. Anyway, up next is Mitch, and he's got a video piece and a music piece, so I'll just pass it on to him.
Hello there, my name is Mitchell Walsh. I am from Cumbria and I am a young musician. This first piece I have to show to you tonight is essentially a spoken word piece called Stage. And the whole kind of theme around it is it's written from the perspective of a musician in the hours and leading moments up to when they walk on stage to perform in front of a crowd. And it's essentially a collection of their thoughts and emotions that go through people's heads while they prepare to do something like that. So yeah, hope you enjoy it.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah, can I get a bit more reverb on the vocals, please?
Twisty cables and the 1 foot step. These things flew through his mind like fledgling chicks, coalescing as a grisly ball in his stomach's pit, nervous and fervent, the cause for his fearful tummy rumblings like the mumblings of half-memorized lyrics, whispered under anxious breath. Twiddling my thumbs like the adjusted amplifier knobs, kneading my thoughts like the dough used in my sandwich bread, folded and caressed to facilitate the smooth flow of thoughts, melodies, one-liners, lined up like bubbles on a crisp folded edge. Strutting out with my cut hair, smart cash jacket, praised and ready for the show. Twisty cables, 1 foot step, a mere thought now, real as my audience cheers, confident and comfortable. The stage gives way to notes, laid upon and played for those who came to see me. My moment, now.
Okay, I don't know what you all thought of that, but hopefully you enjoyed it and hope it enriched your evening somehow. And for my last thing I'm going to show you tonight, I'm actually going to play a song of mine that I have written myself. It's about a sort of fictional, strained father-daughter relationship due to the father's success in the music industry at its basics. So I will play you that now. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. New record out today. Not now, that just go away. I'm up to something important. Please, honey, give me some slack. I worked real hard to get where I am now. Where I am now. Cooped up in that room upstairs, listening to your daddy's songs. Oh, if he found out what you do at night. Oh, don't wanna start a fight, no. And you know that he loves you, but he really, really, really wants you to follow in his footsteps. Kick out the jams in the shed while your next of kin hangs out with her friends. A bottle in hand, she just doesn't want to listen to your band, Dad. Cooped up in that room upstairs, listen to your daddy's songs. Oh, if she found out what he doesn't die. Oh, I don't want to start a fight, no. And you know that he cares for you, but he really, really, really wants her to follow in his footsteps. Crammed into that room upstairs, not listening to your daddy's songs, oh, trying out some brand new trend. Oh, don't want to get with her friends, no. And you know that she loves you, but she really, really, really doesn't want to follow in your footsteps. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed. Okay.
That was really good. Well done, Mitch.
Thank you.
Right. Anyway, next up is Eloise with her piece. Would you like to introduce it?
Hi, I'm Eloise Lomax, a writer and creator from Manchester. I've used my piece to ask some questions and voice some opinions that I've had for a while, and I've really enjoyed the opportunity to create something that's very me. So I'd now like to present my contribution to the evening's programme. Thoughts?
I would just like to add as well, make sure that you put your questions in the chat so we can answer them later.
Time. Is it real? The fleeting moments that soar past like bats out of the night, leaving you spellbound and still. The long waits and pauses that seem to last an eternity, like treacle dripping from a spoon. Did they happen, or were they just a dream? Your mind playing tricks on you to help you comply to the norms of society. But then what is reality? Look around you, at all the systems humanity has created. Language, measurement, conventions of architecture, gender, consumerism, relationships. Are they real? Are human ideologies of right and wrong real? We say I was doing the right thing and you were wrong to do that, so lightly. But can you define it? Can you define right and wrong, good and evil? Well, to do so you would have to use words, and as Shakespeare once said, words are grown so false, I am loath to prove reason with them. In a world where we are all connected, untangling the web of events, people, and time to find the right course to pursue becomes ever harder, as by attempting to untangle the threads you risk only pulling them tighter. The irony of life. A youth strike for climate in the city centre. Traffic at a standstill while hundreds troop by, chanting songs for climate justice. But most of the engines are still running. The buses and cars sitting there, pumping out toxic fumes into streets full of people. People protesting the way we are treating the planet we have the presumption to call home. So, how should we decide how to act in a situation? I know you're doing what you believe in, and that's all any of us can do. It's all any of us should. A quote from a letter penned by Steve Rogers, Captain America. But is that enough? Because each decision we make impacts those around us. Each tiny choice changes the world, usually in ways we could and can never imagine. So what should we do? In a world that is so based on perception, where one person sees orange and another purple, where I sometimes wonder that anything is communicated, in a world where everyone has such a different perspective on things. There are ways of connecting that transcend words, of course, and indeed transcend everything, even if only for an instant. An understanding between people that doesn't need words, a common purpose, a mutual feeling, understanding. When we come together, often through music or space, and connect. A connection of hearts, when all time falls away and you're just in that moment. Or perhaps that is when you're most keenly aware of everything. I do not know, for I speak of that which cannot be defined or described. The threads that link us all together. The incredible, inexplicable things that just happen when things link up. You matter. Everything matters. Out beyond ideas of right doing and wrong doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. Rumi.
Wow, that was good as well. Well done, Eloise. And I'll pass it back to Shar now for the Q&A. If any of you got any questions, just type them down in the chat.
Yes, I think firstly, let's just give all the young people like another massive round of applause.
Woo!
So we don't actually have many questions, but let me. Oh, okay. So Steph James says Grace says that Mitch's piece on performance was an accurate representation of what goes through your mind when you're about to perform. Mitch, did you want to elaborate on that anymore about how you maybe tried to capture that in your piece?
Thank you, Charlotte. Well, in answer to your question, it really came down to a mixture of trying to think about, common experiences that all people in fields of music would share, but also calling upon individual experiences that I've personally had. So when I thought about the inspiration for that piece, I thought of things like rushing to get dinner, for example, before a gig, like in the half hour leading up to it, which is probably where the line about sandwich bread actually came from. Just, trying to sort everything out, so kind of rushing really frantically just to make sure that everything's as good as it can be for the big show. And I think as well, yeah, I did mention it was also about thinking about common experiences that all people have, and that reflected a lot on the feelings of anxiety. So kind of, the fearful tummy rumblings and kind of whispering lyrics under your breath to yourself as you walk on stage, just to make sure you don't forget in the heat of the moment. So to summarize, mostly personal experiences and other people's experiences that I've kind of collected and heard about.
Cool. Thanks, Mitch. Elizabeth asks, so this is to all of the participants, where did everyone get their inspiration? Eloise, I'm going to come to you first.
So there were kind of thoughts that I'd had for a while, just like things I just wondered, and just sort of a philosophy that I've kind of developed and questions I've developed over the last few years. And it was I just kind of wrote something and then thought about kind of what visuals I put to it, because usually when I write stuff I've got things going through my head, so just sort of tried to kind of put those things down, and then yeah, that's it really.
Cool. Joe, what about you?
Well, I generally just wrote about something that I know a lot about and that I really enjoy. And I also think that Dungeons and Dragons is a game that has a bit of a misconception in popular media. And I think that once I advocate for everyone playing it, like I run the game for new players all the time, because I truly think it's such a really lovely experience to like be a character and to role play and stuff like that. And I just really enjoyed doing it. So it was really easy for me to write a piece about that.
Cool. Toby, what about you?
I just kind of felt relaxed when I did mine, but then I also kind of like felt like I just wanted to go out and party. Like it was kind of loosely based on lockdown, kind of, because I'm very relaxed as a child at school who doesn't really have to worry that much about it all. But at the same time, I was missing meeting up with my mates and going out and doing stupid stuff with them. So that's what my inspiration was.
Nice. Mitch, what about you?
So I've pretty much already answered the question about stage, the spoken word piece. So I'll focus mainly on the song, Footsteps. And weirdly, the inspiration for that song started as just a random thought that I had one day. And it was like years ago this. It was, if I grew up and I was still doing music as a career and I had a child, would I be one of those parents who ended up kind of expecting their child to follow in their footsteps, which was something that I didn't want to happen. But it was a really interesting concept that I kind of dwelled on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And funnily enough, around the same time, I'd actually been trying to write kind of my first proper song. So I just thought, hang on, I can use this to my advantage. And so I did. So that's pretty much the story about that. Like I said, it's not actually a real story. Like it doesn't involve real people from my life or anything. It's entirely a fictional narrative that I kind of weaved around from my head. So there you go.
Cool. Joe asked, I would like to ask Toby and Mitch what.
So yeah, that they've covered that. I guess can I just wanted to say something about all the pieces, if that's all right. I really like how they all, like, they're all so different, but they all really relate to the world that we're living in at the moment in their own different ways. Like, I know, Joe, you said it's the game that you love, but you know, this world that we're in and these descend into the dungeon, you know, the world feels like that at the moment. I think that's really powerful. And I think, like Toby talking about like the music and wanting to party, but that's sort of like you're in lockdown but you're partying, and I guess your music feels like that. And Mitch, you've said before that you miss going on stage. That's the thing you miss the most. But that sort of anxiety is similar to feeling in lockdown. So I think, and obviously Eloise, yours is like the thoughts you've got in your head, but the fact that it's been even more so in our own minds in coronavirus and everything that's going on. And I just think they've each got a really great way of like showing that sort of depth to people's experiences of the different sort of the way we are in the world at the moment, but each in their own different way. And I just think that's really good. It's really powerful. So yeah, well done to you all. You've done a really good job. So, yeah, sorry, that wasn't a question, that was a comment.
No, they're all welcome. They're all welcome. Elias, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Did you want to ask your question? Okay. How long did it take to create these pieces? So that's another question for everyone. So Toby, I'll come to you first.
I'm not really that sure. It's probably been about a month in the making, probably, maybe a little bit longer. I'm not really that sure, to be totally honest.
Okay. Joe?
I think the original concept came like 6 weeks ago. I I was sort of, maybe for a week or two, I was like thinking about it rather than actually doing it. But I was just thinking about it for a while. And then once I started doing it, it took me, I think, 2.5 weeks to from start to finish. A big part of that was sourcing sound effects, like royalty-free sound effects. And then in a lot of cases, I had to make my own. So that took more time, but it was definitely worth.
Cool. Eloise, what about you?
So I kind of had started actually kind of writing stuff down about like a month ago, just over. And kind of once I actually finished writing everything down, I kind of realized that this is really ambitious to do in a month. So then kind of my parents very patiently dropped a lot of things, and so did I, to kind of get this done. And I spent like I edited it in a week, just under a week. But like most days I was kind of just editing. So that was fun. But yeah, so I got it done in just under a month, I think, something like that.
Cool. Mitch?
Well, originally I had a similar answer to Toby's, but I think about a month ago I 100% knew the concept that I was doing for stage, and I knew what I wanted to write about, and I just had the paper in front of me, and it was just this really kind of mad stream of consciousness. Just I thought of something and I thought like, right, I'm putting that down, and eventually I had the full thing in front of me. And producing the sound for it was probably the most difficult and time-consuming part of it. That took like, I want to say maybe a week and a half, kind of on and off work. But when it comes to the visuals, a lot of the photos that you saw in the visual clip for stage, I already had kind of taken just things in my bedroom that I found interesting. And I thought, you know, that could really, really work well, you know, because they all kind of vaguely fit this kind of theme that I'd had for stage. So I don't know how concise of an answer that is, but that's what I've got.
Cool. That's perfect. We've just had another question in from Anthony. Anthony, did you want to ask it?
Yeah, I can do.
So actually, let me introduce Anthony, because Anthony is part of the board, like the funders for this project. So he is I get mixed up between my project name and this project name because it's so similar, but it's Our Place in the World, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go. Thank you.
Thank you. So what have you all learned about yourselves from going through these creative processes? Have you learned anything new about yourself or about others? Like what's happened to you as you've been going along and making these pieces of work?
And we will go to Joe first.
Biggest thing I've realized, learned and realized about myself is that when it comes down to it and there's something due, I can sort of knuckle down and get stuff done, which is something that I could never do in school or high school, or anything like that. But once it's sort of a lovely project like this, when you're making something that you care about, it makes you realize what you're capable of when you sort of put your mind to it, essentially.
Cool. Mitch, what about you?
Actually, pretty similar to Joe's answer, really, and that's that it was more of just a reinforcement towards how if there is a deadline for something, particularly in a creative project, that needs to be met at a certain date, as long as I put my mind to it and I just keep trying things out, I keep finding solutions around my problems, you know, instead of ignoring them like you might do something else. You really can do whatever you put your mind to. It just takes time, work, and a lot of patience, but you can and will get there. So that's what I've learned.
Cool. Eloise, what about you?
I think there are a few things I've learned. One is that I've never sort of had created a project from scratch like this before with like such a wide brief, so that I can create something that I connect with as much emotionally with the full thing as I did with the original idea, which I didn't know I could do. So that's really nice. I'm not looking at it and going, oh, I could have done this really differently. I'm just like, yeah, that's great. And that I can sort of when I was doing the visuals, I'd never done anything like that before. So I kind of learned that I can direct things and that I can get what I have in my head into something physically that's been taken as a video. And also, like everyone else so far has said, that I can, if there's a deadline, that I can kind of get it done on time. Because usually when I'm doing anything creative, everything takes like between 2 and 3 times as long as I think it will. So I'm quite pleased that I got it done on time. So yeah, that's it really.
Cool. Toby?
I think I've just learned that I'm actually better than I actually think I am, in a way. Just like, you don't really learn it at school, but I felt like I've known how to motivate myself into doing something. So that's been really helpful for me. So that's what I've kind of learned from this entire experience. It's that I just need to look at myself and say, you're better than you actually are, Toby.
Yeah.
Try your hardest and you'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely. You're ace. We've got a question from iPhone. Sorry, I don't have your name. iPhone, if you'd like to ask the question, or I can just read it out, I'm quite happy to.
I can unmute if you want. Oh no, I can't.
Okay.
Actually.
I'll just ask the question. What is everyone's dream / end goal? Eloise, let's come to you.
Oh, that's a tricky one. I have many dreams and many things that I want to do. I think just keep creating, you know, like when I kind of signed up for this project, I didn't know kind of what it was going to be like, and I was like, this just sounds really cool, so I'm going to do it. And it's been a really incredible experience to do with such amazing creative people and just do stuff, and I've really loved it. It's just keep creating and keep doing new things. I can now edit video, which is very useful. Well, sort of. I guess there are some books I want to write. I'm always coming up with new ideas for things and for costumes and just for stuff. So just I don't really have a particular end goal or dream. But it has been really nice just to kind of just do creative stuff and have something to work towards, really. Yeah.
Cool. Toby, what about you?
Oh, is he frozen?
Have you frozen, Toby? I think you have. Mitch, let's come to you.
Well, really, I think I'd like to kind of have a stable career in the music industry because it's what I love, and it's something over the past couple of years that I've discovered I'm personally quite good at. Or I'm told I'm good at it anyway, so I just kind of believe people. And really, I would have to agree with Eloise on one point, and that was that just having a nice, you know, continued creative output in whatever area kind of seems to catch my interest, really, and that I can do well in. That's all, you know.
Cool. Joe?
Every single time someone asks me this question, I have the same answer, and that is I want to be a rock star. I want to be on stage playing like music. Obviously, that may not necessarily be the most realistic goal, but I'm like Mitch. I would settle for having a full-time career in the music industry, whether that's a producer, whether that's working in a studio, even being a music leader, like Charlotte and Joe, like being a leader in creative output. I would love to do that as well. Just anything involved, I'm happy.
I think you'd be ace at that. Toby, are you there?
Oh yes.
Cool. Did you hear the question?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, cool.
I think my end goal is just to make people happy, really. I didn't really have an in-depth one. It's just something that I'd make people just like, you know, move, or, you know, just make them feel a bit happier inside or something like that. I don't know.
Nice. That's totally lovely. Do we have any more questions that people fancy asking? If not, forever hold your peace. I've got a question, actually. I'm kind of interested because a lot of you make stuff you know, kind of in rooms, you know, you see you in bands, or you know, you do live music or whatever. So how has it felt, and how has it been to kind of shift your creativity and do something that's like purely online? And have you found that challenging? And if so, how have you overcome those challenges? I'll come to Mitch.
Thank you. Yeah, it really has been challenging, actually, especially for the first couple of weeks, just trying to get to know kind of, you know, digital audio workstations, you know, music production kind of programs, and, you know, just sort of editing my photographs, you know, communication online. It's not something I'm bad at, but it's, you know, making sure that you're 100% on it all the time. You know, that's really important as well. So it's mainly been a reinforcement of that, definitely, you know, but it's been a very welcome experience, and I think I've learned a lot from it.
Great. Eloise, what about you?
I think I found sort of the Zoom side of it like pretty easy, because I've used Zoom quite a lot, and that's been quite simple. I think the bit that I found hardest is like the 1 or 2 times that I was sending emails to Joe which were asking questions about the editing software, and trying to say things in a concise way on an email in a way that made sense about random buttons. I think that's probably the hardest bit, but yeah, that's it really.
Great. Toby?
It wasn't. I haven't done a lot of like well, I don't have to say this, but real music, I guess. Non-online. Yeah, the old-fashioned way. I haven't really done a lot of it, but it was a lot harder doing it online. But it was also a lot easier as well, because you had all the tools that you needed at the time. So it's a mixture of hard and easy. So.
Okay, cool. Joe?
It's been different. I love having a little bit of alone time to work on music, because I've been working full time throughout lockdown. But what I do miss is my little casual jams with my friends. I love being in a room with another musician and just casually just having a little noodle. Even with the vocalist, I miss harmonizing, especially in the same room, because I don't know if anyone's ever tried to sing together over Zoom, but it's not possible. It's just not. You can't do it. So that's been something that I miss a lot. But so far as making music alone, it's been a good exercise in that pinpoint focus that you need to get stuff done. Whereas I know that I'm a very distractible person, and if there is someone in a room while I'm making music, I will focus on them because I like attention. And so it's been a good exercise to focus on what I'm doing.
Yeah. Cool. Well, if there's no more questions, just want to thank you all for. Oh, Joe.
I just wanted to say, maybe people, because obviously all the everybody's seen everybody's claps, but if you had any actual comments that you wanted to put in the chat as well, any like lasting comments for the young people, that'd be great, just so that we've got a bit of a record of like your feedback rather than just some claps that we saw. So yeah, just nice to finish on that. But yeah, pass back to sorry.
No, that was a great idea. Absolutely belting. Okay, we'll just give you a few minutes to do some lovely comments.
I think Charlotte and Joe do deserve some lovely comments as well, because they have worked really hard to get us all together. You know, Joe's been helping everyone edit their videos, and Charlotte's been helping everyone get the music together and running the show. And honestly, we literally would not be here if you hadn't dragged us all together.
This is why you should be a facilitator, Joe. Check you doing the yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Posting people. Can I have this? Can I have this? Can I have this? Can I have this? Yeah. So thank you all for your lovely comments. Thank you all for coming, giving up your time this evening. What I thought would be really lovely is if you all wanted to unmute yourself, and we'll all have a big round of applause and a big cheer, and then you're very welcome to leave the event. So please unmute yourself, and we'll have a massive congratulations to the young people.
Yay, well done, everybody.
Well done, everybody.
Great comments as well. Thank you.
So thank you, everybody. You're more than welcome to leave the event now. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace, for your comment.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye bye. Have a wonderful week.
Bye.
Yay! All right, one more. Where's Mitch? Oh no, that isn't Mitch. Mitch is gone, I think.
Mitch is gone.
Yeah, I thought I was about to say, Mitch, you do know you're staying, don't you? But yeah.
Oh.
Did Mitch just leave?
Do you want to get him back? I'm just going to really quickly nip to the loo. That's all right.
Well, we need him.
I'll put it in.
Yeah, I'm going to run to the loo as well. I'll be back in literally 20 seconds.
Go have wee breaks.
Well done, everybody.
That was wicked.
Yay.
I can't believe that. Katie from my work stayed for my song and then she left immediately after.
Did she? I didn't notice anybody leave.